He's Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated senior writer, former NBA ball boy for the Boston Celtics, and it's great to have Chris back on. Was anybody ever mean to you as a ball boy, like a player or coach?
Two jump to mind. Reggie Miller, and I think I've said this on your show before, and John Koncak. Remember him from back in the day?
Atlanta
he played
Hawks.
For Atlanta, then
Detroit
teams. Yeah. Like kind of mean. That kind of stuff sticks out to a teenager.
But what happened here? Like, why would they be mean to you?
I think Koncak was just in a bad mood at one point and threw a ball at me that hit me in the head. And Reggie, if I'm not mistaken, like I was working behind the bench, and working behind the bench, you kind of have the water cup and you dip it over their shoulder to see if they want it. And Reggie just turned around and whacked it away, and it got kind of all over me in that moment. It was a tough moment for Reggie. I will say this about Reggie Miller, though. When you worked locker rooms, the Reggie Miller bag was an actual thing. Like he always wanted one of the locker room guys to take his bag and walk it like the 30 feet down to the bus, and he would give you like $50 for it. And $50 in the late 90s to a kid in college, you're spending that in some good places, Dan. So I'll give Reggie that much.
Who is the best tipper?
Oh, man. Antoine Walker was an excellent tipper.
Maybe too much. He doesn't have any money.
Potentially. Mark Jackson was a really good tipper. When he and Reggie played together, it was always good to kind of huddle around them to see if you can get their bag. I mean, I've told this story many times before, but Allen Iverson was a good tipper. When Allen wanted, his Coronas or whatever he wanted, he made sure that, we got taken care of to take care of that for him. So most guys, I would say, were excellent tippers.
All right, let me dive into the issues here. Let me start with James Harden based off his comments last night. It almost felt like an exit interview there that, hey, I've done everything I can do, and this is a mess, and, hey, see you later. Where do the Rockets go from here?
I mean, I think you first have to point out that James Harden made the mess. He created this situation that the Rockets are in right now. Now, maybe there would have been growing pains regardless if you trade for a starting point guard in John Wall, who doesn't play the first couple of games. You're going to have to acclimate to a new backcourt mate. Christian Wood is a new player in that mix, but it's extremely clear that James Harden and his unwillingness to buy in, as Wall alluded to last night, is a part of this problem. I mean, you see him. I mean, NBA TV, Dan, is making cracks at his weight. Like, you've kind of gone to a different level when NBA TV feels comfortable taking shots at your physique. So that's a big part of it as well. Now, you ask where the Rockets go from here. My understanding in the last couple of days still is that the Rockets are determined to be patient with this, because they believe that the longer they play this thing out, the more teams will materialize as prospective suitors, and that will allow them to get into a bidding war for James Harden. They could pull the trigger on a deal for Harden right now. There are multiple offers that are on the table for him, but they believe that they can maximize his value by holding on to him throughout January, into February, and towards that March deadline.
I think they've only played 9 games, and that's what I don't understand. He's got new faces in there. And I don't know why he doesn't want to give it, unless he just says, look, I love the city of Houston and the strip clubs, but I don't want to play for the Rockets. Get me out of here, even though he's not giving this a chance with John Wall, Boogie Cousins, and Christian Wood, which to me is surprising, because you would have thought James Harden would at least say, let me see what we have. Maybe we have something unique here, different here. I don't know. These guys have been quality players. That's what's a little bit surprising, is he's basically pulling up stakes after 9 games.
No, I agree. I would have given John Wall half a chance because, we talk a lot about Kevin Durant's recovery from Achilles surgery. John Wall's been just as good. I mean, at least as far as his recovery goes, and looks like he's bounced all the way back physically from that injury. Cousins kind of is what he is at this stage of his career after his injuries, but Wood is kind of an ideal type of player, at least offensively, to play off of James Harden, play in the pick and roll, run the floor. I mean, there's a chance for this team, if they all bought in, to compete pretty hard for a top 4 or 5 seed in the Western Conference. And from there, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, the Clippers have fallen on their face, recently in the playoffs. The Lakers, they look like the best team right now, but they could be one injury away from scuffling. I mean, the Rockets are not bad enough that, declaring this team unfixable makes any kind of sense at this point of the season.
We'll get to Kyrie and that issue in a moment here. Do you agree with, I'm watching the Lakers, and LeBron's played in every game, but he's playing a career low 32 minutes. It feels like there is load management during games, not taking nights off. Do you sense this?
A little bit. I mean, as any coach will tell you, it's difficult to get LeBron to bring his minutes down. He wants to play in every game. He wants to play as many minutes as possible. And the numbers reflect that he's usually gotten his way. But this is exactly what the Lakers need to be doing, keeping those minutes in the low 30s, kind of the way that Milwaukee's treated Giannis over the last few years of his career. If you do that, you don't necessarily need to give him too many nights off. And I'm sure there will be nights he'll take off in the weeks and months ahead. There are just too many 3 and 4 nights, back-to-backs, a lot of weird situations because of the schedule that undoubtedly are only going to get weirder because of these postponements. But if you can keep LeBron in the early 30s in minutes, nothing guarantees anything, I guess, but it gets as close as you can be to making sure that he's fully fresh in the playoffs.
Feels like the sports media might be waking up today or this week and going, oh, wow, there's COVID issues going on. Because we've been dealing with the NFL, college football. The NBA's been dealing with this, that they survived Orlando, but now this is reality here. College basketball, the same thing. So where's the NBA going to be headed to kind of protect itself in this, especially in Los Angeles, with, the COVID issues there?
Yeah, I mean, the NBA says they've expected this, they anticipated this, but I don't believe they expected this much and this many issues this early in the season. Where are they headed? They're going to push forward, Dan. It's just as simple as that. They are determined to get as close to 72 games in on this schedule. They are determined to get this season over by early July before the Olympics. And there is hope amongst the league executives that I've talked to in the last 48 hours that these enhanced protocols are going to help. Now, the league, it has a COVID problem, especially when it comes to teams like Dallas, which now has a recent run of COVID positive players. But more than anything, it has a close contact problem. That's what's wreaking havoc amongst teams in this league with their rosters. One guy goes out with COVID, but then 4 or 5 other guys have to go out because they were in close contact with that player. That's at the crux of the changes the league made in the last 24 hours, where they said, look, when you're at home, you got to stay in your house. When you're on the road, no more approved restaurants, no more friends in hotel rooms. They're going to do everything they can to limit the interactions of players as best as possible. And the union's on board with this. I mean, everything the league has done has had to be collectively bargained with the union. And Michelle Roberts and the union brass are on board with this strategy because they know it can't continue like this. So the only way to ensure that not only are these games played, but they're played at a high level where you're not just having 8 guys out there struggling to get through a game. The only way you should make sure that happens is to severely restrict player movements in the most significant way outside of a bubble.
Atlanta at Phoenix has just been postponed. That the Suns couldn't come up with the
contact tracing.
Yeah, the required number of players. By the way, plenty of room on the LaMelo Ball bandwagon if you would like to get.
No. Who called LaMelo Ball in print for Rookie of the Year before the season? This guy. I did. All in on LaMelo Ball bandwagon.
I know. How about in a medium that people actually are going to be able to see, and hear?
It's in print and online. What do you want me to do? Scream it from the top of Mount Snow?
You should have said, I want to be on your show. I want to scream from the mountaintops. I got one thing to say. We could have been there together.
I'm still not entirely sure I didn't say it, but everything you save are things that I get wrong. So I don't.
We can work together on the project if you'd like to. Okay. Timelines may be a little off there, but I'll give you a little bit of credit there. Maybe.
Look, I watched a lot. I thought LaMelo Ball was one of the most over-scrutinized players coming into the draft. I mean, everyone was kind of focused on the fact that he didn't finish the season in Lithuania. Then overseas, he didn't finish the season in New Zealand. Like he He had so many problems.
And I said that a week before you said it.
Well, I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah.
I believe this kid has a lot of talent. I think he is a incredible playmaker. And on that team, with the firepower they kind of have with Hayward and Terry Rozier and Graham, like that's a recipe for, being a double-double type of guy every single night. So I think he's really good.
I agree. The shot's going to be an issue, but he's fun to watch.
Shots are issues for everybody, Dan. I mean, just give him a couple of years. Somebody will rework his shot, and it will get better. I mean, there's too many shot doctors in the NBA right now for that to be a lingering issue towards his ascent.
All right, I have held off long enough. Kyrie Irving situation here. Help me understand, because I've been told by two people that I trust, you got to be, make sure you're sensitive here. You don't want to be, you're not sensitive in a situation like this on your show. And I go, okay, tell me what to be sensitive about with Kyrie Irving. What am I missing here with Kyrie Irving?
Well, it's still unclear about exactly why he's away from the team. The Nets know. The Nets know why he's away. I don't think that was abundantly clear to them very early on. You heard Steve Nash say in his first press avail when Kyrie disappeared that he didn't really know where Kyrie was, but they know now, and Kyrie's teammates, as a result of text conversations with them, they're aware of the situation right now. I can't say I know definitively, Dan, so I don't want to speculate too much on a guy being away for personal reasons. But one thing I can tell you is that the Nets are going to continue to handle this situation with kid gloves, not because they're empathetic with Kyrie Irving necessarily, though I'm sure they are on some level. They just know that he's the key to them winning a championship. So they're not going to sabotage their season by getting a little overworked up about something that's going on in the month of January. The thing you have to watch, though, is the impact this has on Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant could have gone anywhere. He could have signed with any team in the league. He chose Brooklyn and Kyrie Irving. He thought, because of his friendship with Kyrie Irving, that they would be an ideal pair. Kevin Durant's not saying much right now, but what I'm wondering, and I've heard this from other people across the league, is how long does that last? How long does Kevin Durant say, look, I'm playing like an MVP right now. I'm all the way back from my injury. I need you to get back here and help me out. We've got chemistry issues to figure out with new teammates. We've got to work stuff out between each other on the floor. What I'm watching is Durant. And look, this is going to be a process, because now that video is out there, this is out of Kyrie's hands, and it's out of the Nets' hands for when he can return. If the NBA determines that video was authentic for this week, as it appears to be,
at a birthday
party, he's going to have to go into some protocols. He's going to have to, the video at the birthday party. He's going to have to go into some protocols that will keep him out for another week, if not longer.
Well, wait, was he on a Zoom call last night that had to do with politics with the district attorney, and he was under the name Cal Irving?
I think it was Kai, K-A-I.
Oh, K-A-I, okay.
I think.
Okay.
I saw that. Malik Andrews tweeted that out. That was, I mean,
so
this is like, it's going to be like a Where's Waldo situation for a while, where Kyrie pops up everywhere, but at the Nets practice facility.
Okay, but this is during the Nets game last night. He's on a Zoom call. Help me.
I wish I could, Dan. I don't fully understand the situation. All I've been told is the Nets are aware of exactly what's going on, but they have no idea when he's coming back. And look, you can tell from some of the public statements that have been made that the Nets are starting to get a little bit, tired of some of this. I mean, Steve Nash saying Kyrie will have an opportunity to explain it when he comes back. The statement issued by Sean Marks, the general manager, saying saying basically the same thing, that Kyrie will have a chance to explain it. I mean, they understand everything I just said, that they need Kyrie back on the floor to start developing chemistry with a team that's been kind of inconsistent. I mean, their defense has been really bad. Their offense is Durant. Their rotations are all over the place right now under Steve Nash. They've got to start developing some chemistry in this season if they hope to have a chance to win a championship in a couple of months.
Good to talk to you as always, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
You got it, Dan.
That's Chris Mannix. He's all in on LaMelo Ball.